Hello, everybody. It is Linda Halpert here with our Bible study for April 11th. We're going to be covering 4 chapters, 1 Chronicles Chapters 4 through 7. A bit of an overview. So chapters 1 through 9 basically is showing the lineage. The focus is actually more on the Messianic lineage, and we're looking at 2 categories: the lineage of David, with the emphasis, obviously, of the Messianic king, of what we know was going on in the New Testament, but also the descendants of the priesthood, and that is the descendants of Aaron. So, chapter 4 of 1 Chronicles is about the family lineage of the family of Judah and Simon. And we hear about the sons of Judah here, and the focus of this genealogy is, again, the line of David, and it makes sense to talk about the tribe of Judah, and it's mentioned in this chapter. So I just want to say on verse 1, the 5 descendants of Judah, from Perez to Shobal, I want to make sure that you understand that these are not brothers that are listed in the verse 1, but they're the successive generations. So Carmi was a scribal error, and that is actually Caleb. So that is successive generations. They are not the 5 descendants of Judah as being brothers. Now, in this chapter, we have a storyline about Jabaz, and I want to go into it a bit. Jabaz was more honorable than his brothers, and I'm going to read verse 9. Now Jabaz was more honorable than his brothers, and his mother called his name Jabaz, because I bore him in pain. And Jabez called on God of Israel, saying, "Oh, that you would indeed bless me and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain." So God granted him what he requested. I think this is a really, there was an old book, I think, about the prayer of Jabez, and this is so important about praying. And he served a God, and he wanted to live his life to do good among men. The key points was to be blessed indeed, that to enlarge the territory. What territory? Against wickedness, against to advance godliness, to let us see the entire kingdom of God, to know his entire truth, to see the entire church, the community of believers, to see, for us as New Testament believers, if we could go into that, to see the fulfillment of the cross. And those are great prayers of a posture of proclaiming. And Lord, indeed bless me, that I may enlarge in your territory. There's also this thing on the hand of God on him, to keep him from doing evil and causing pain, and that he expected his prayers to be granted. And that's so much of what John 1 John 5:14, which says, "Now this is the confidence that we have in God, that if we ask him anything according to his will, he hears us." So God does grant our request when we are strong in knowing that we have confidence that he hears our requests and in alignment to his will. Verse 23 on chapter 1. There are these potters who dwell in Natam and Genderha, and they dwell with the king for his work. And this was a highlight to me, because we dwell with our kin for his work. And the focus of our work is important, because it is his work that we are doing and we want to accomplish. So it's all about him, the kingdom work, and that we're partakers of this divine nature to do his work here on this side of heaven. I'm just, as we go on in this verse 24 through 43 is about the descendants of Simon. And these sons of Simon, we learn about their dwelling places. I just want to remind you that Simon and Levi, they were the 2 sons of Jacob that massacred the men at the city of Shechem, way back when we were studying about Genesis chapter 34, about the incident with Dinah, their sister, and Simon and Levi took revenge and murdered all the men in the city of Shechem for the raping of their sister. And so they were scattered, the tribe of Simon and Levi, and they did not have a province to call their own or city places. These brothers and the families of the census, you see that the tribe of Simon decreases dramatically during their wilderness period, in the years of their exodus. They were among the largest tribes at the beginning and became one of the smallest tribes at the end, as I was doing a little bit of study on the descendants of Simon. Now we go into chapter 5, and chapter 5 is about the tribes that settle in the east of Jordan, and that's Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh. And we find out in Reuben verses 1 through 10, Reuben was the firstborn of Israel. He was the firstborn, but because he defiled his father's bed, remember this, when he took one of his father's concubine, and his birthright was given. So he lost his birthright, is what I meant, and that unfortunately is what happened to Reuben. We find out from Reuben, obviously Judah prevails above his brothers, and he is the chief ruler. The chief ruler that comes from David, and this is all to draw us close to me ultimately to the birthing of Jesus Christ, the lineage. I just want to highlight also Reuben's tribe that we were talking about, these three tribes. Reuben's tribe, when they were inhabiting the east part of this wilderness area by the rivers of Euphrates, there were other tribes there. They were the Hagarites, which is listed here, which are the present day area of Iraq. And these were Arab people, and they were nomadic people living in tents. We learn about Gad, and then we also learn about Manasseh. Again, all of these tribes, Gad did some good, that he trusted in the Lord. Verse 20, in the midst of battle, they were trusting God in delivering them in the battle. Manasseh, originally as settlers on this eastern tribe of Manasseh, they were godly and bold men, but despite their good start, their devotion to God weakens as they get attracted to the gods of the people of the land that they're inhabiting. And we find this all with a very sad comment on verse 25 of this chapter. And it says that Reuben, Gad, and this Manasseh tribe, half tribe of Manasseh, they transgressed against the God of their fathers. They went on a whoring after the gods of the people of the land, whom God destroyed before them. And the God of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, the king of Assyria, and the spirit of Telagath-Pisner, the king of Assyria, and he gathered them away, and even the Reubenites, the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh, and they brought them unto Halah, unto Habor, and Hara, and to the river Gozan unto this day. That is 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verses 25-26, a very sad statement. Chapter 6, we go into the sons of Levi, and obviously this is the chapter describing the descendants of Levi and of Aaron. The entire tribe of Levi had a special place in Israel, given the order of the service of God generally, and within the tribe of Israel, there was a specially priestly family descended from Aaron. And all priests were therefore Levites, but not all Levites were priests. And we have a commentary that's done here on chapter 6 about the musicians of the Lord. And you see that these musicians are dedicated, and they were actually appointed by David, these men, and their job was to stay in the tabernacle and sing to the Lord, do worship. That's verse 31 and 33. And there was every kind of service that was being appointed at the tabernacle of God. And this is really precious to God. That's verse 48. We hear a storyline about the family of Aaron and about his sons offering sacrifices at the altar. We know that there's also a commentary on the dwelling places of the Levites. Again, the tribe of Levite had no providence of land as the other tribes did. They were God's anointed one. They were not given land, but they were sprinkled throughout the land of Israel, and they were there specifically to be sprinkled, to giving them involvement and influence in various cities in different tribal providences. Chapter 7, as I end, are the descendants of Asher, Benjamin, Naphtali, Manasseh, West Ephraim, and Asher. And basically, there's not much description, and they're outside that all of these descendants, they go into Assyrian captivity. And with that, I end. It is a bit of a dry book on this part because it has a lot of names, but God has, I mean, you need to see these generations, and this is historical evidence and names that are important in the lineage of Jesus Christ, of the root of David, as well as just knowing about the Aaronic priestly order too. Bye for now.